Welcome back, Commanders. We are here with our final match of WCS NA Challenger Season 2 taking place at the Blizzard Arena in Burbank, California, where you can come watch an Overwatch League match if you want. But if you're like, I would like to watch some StarCraft, you cannot. So don't ask. I'm joined by Mr. Rotterdam. Rotterdam, much like the World Cup, which is going on right now, we're having a blast here with some pretty low-scoring games.
Yeah, well, I guess best of threes are always going to be either 2-0 or 2-1.
Yeah.
Every now and then we get lucky with a tie, but
Well,
they happen a little more in the World Cup or in general than they happen over here in StarCraft. I'm excited for this one, though. I said it in the beginning. I really felt that this was going to be the deciders match. At the beginning of the day, I said, absolutely, I think Silky takes it, even though I am a Semper fan, but I'm not sure how much he's been playing lately. But to be honest, Semper has impressed me more today than Silky did.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just Vindicta playing very well. So right now I go into this series with absolutely no expectations other than it could be a short, long, or medium-sized match.
you know, is that always the question? It's like, how long will this match last for? It's all been going by pretty quickly, but we've had a couple of game threes, excuse me, in the last couple. So this will be it. The winner of this is going to join Scarlet in advancing beyond this group and play in the playoffs next weekend when we invite Nathanius back out here to commentate some StarCraft and really
maybe he can just host the desk for us.
Let's just have him host. You know, let's see. Let's
We'll just put him in the middle and be like, Nate.
Yeah, put him on his box. Hey, see how he does. But we're having a good time here. Hopefully you guys are as well. And you can, of course, always join in on the conversation on that Twitter, either at StarCraft or Esports StarCraft. And then there's some live report threads on Team Liquid, a great website, that kind of stuff. So that's where you can kind of join. Or you can be in the Twitch chat.
Or in the Discord.
Or the Discord.
There's lots of Discord. The Pylon Show Discord.
Yeah, Pylon Show Discord's got one. You guys, it's a lot of places to talk StarCraft. But for right now, it's going to be Roddy and I talking StarCraft as we go into this last one. So Semper showed some pretty good TVZ, was able to cheese out one win from Scarlet. And then, you know, Ravi and I were talking about this. It's not like he fell on his face and played terribly after that. It's just that I do think Scarlet is that cut above most of the North American scene. It would be kind of weird for a Silky or Semper to just like appear and be like, oh, Scarlet? Yeah, I beat her. It's really only your Masas, your Neebs, that kind of stuff that can kind of take her down at this stage, I think.
Yeah, even the ladder kind of shows us, right? I know a ladder is not the same as tournaments, but when you can be as dominant as Scarlet is on the North American ladder, she's just not losing.
She won like 50 in a row or something.
Yes, he's like 6.9k MMR. That's 400 MMR clear of the second place. That's kind of what Cerro is doing to the European ladder. And we obviously see with Cerro as well that it does mean something in tournaments. Now, of course, NA ladder, maybe not exactly the same as the European ladder, but it's still very, very impressive. And it's good to see Scarlet advance. I think everyone is happy about it. But now it's time to find out who is going to join Scarlet in the round of 8 of WCS North America Challenger, as we are looking at the main base of our Canadian Terran player. It is Semper. Can I put you on the spot, Jeff?
Sure.
Where did Semper end last season in Challenger?
In Challenger?
Yeah.
Well, he lost to Puck, right? Was that last season? Yeah. So that was it was the best of 5, so it was in the playoffs, I guess.
Quarterfinals, that's right, Jeff.
Thank you.
You're on fire. Elephant brain.
I got an elephant brain for sure. All right, well, in the lower left-hand side, trying to make a name for himself, it's the young upcoming Zerg, Silky. Nick McNeese.
I tried to go with Fedor, I was like, do you like his name? He's like, yes, I like his name. And then he moved on. Didn't get anything else. That was it. That's all I got from Ravi.
Ravi. That guy, man. Been having a good time with him. Hopefully you guys will check out his stuff too. He's got Ladder Heroes coming up in August, which is a great, I would say it's an amazing thing that kind of joins up with WCS and really encouraging some of the young talent to have a shot, have something to play for.
I just want him to lower it to like top 80.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Get you in there?
Yeah, you know, barely like I can scrape some pennies together as well. It's like, even if it's $1 for rank 80 on the ladder, I'll take it. That's
Did you watch Thursday, by the way, WCS?
That's esports earnings that I can put and show to Todd.
Knows.
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say?
Did you watch us Thursday? Did you watch the broadcast?
I watch you guys every day.
This is going to sound really inflammatory. I don't mean it that way because you're actually a very good player. But I honestly think if we dropped you in that group on Thursday, you would have made it out.
Wait, last Thursday?
Yeah. No, wait, 2 days ago.
The NA group?
Yes, but also the EU. I think.
The EU one? Are you
yeah,
crazy?
you could have swung.
No.
You show up in both groups, you make it out of both.
No. The European Challenger is so good, Jeff.
Dude,
and even those NA guys, trust me, they're actually very good. That's the funny thing, because we're all used to seeing the GSL players and the top European players against each other, that every now and then you observe a game, you're like, ha, they're sloppy. How good can they truly be? And then you play against them, entire map covered in creep, 9-minute mark. You're like, okay, I guess they are really good. And I definitely think that when you're looking at the top 16, like, these are all really good players, but there is a big scale difference between Neep and the 16 best players.
I'm not saying they're bad. See, look what you just did. You just did a whole speech about, Jeff, no, they're not terrible. I don't agree with you at all. I'm saying you're good enough to have made it out. But anyways, if you're going to take the high ground and be all humble on me right now?
Jeff, I am so trash sometimes. You don't even want to know half of it. I appreciate the compliments, but you're overrating me then. That's all.
Fair enough.
Maybe you're not underrating them, you're overrating me.
Fair enough. Semper is going to go with that Medevac Hellion play, which could transform into Hellbats, but if he is going to do that, we're going to need to see that armory here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how it plays out between these two. We, of course, saw this earlier today as well. And it kind of felt that Silky had, you know, potential to do well, but on Escaplan he lost like 25 drones. And yeah, from that point on, he maybe had a couple of okay moves and trades, but that's not a game anymore. On this level, you simply cannot lose 25 drones and still expect to win the game unless you have a miraculous comeback with burrowed banelings. That's literally pretty much the only way that Zerg could come back. So it's safe to say that Silky's early game is gonna have to be a lot cleaner against Semper than it was early today, but I believe that he can do that. We know that he loves the queens, and Semper is gonna try to contest that creep a little bit with his Hellions.
Just that shot right there shows exactly what you're talking about, because that is a lot of queens. Throwing that creep forward, here comes a couple of Hellions. Now, the 2 Hellions has to be a little bit of a suspicious number, right? Like, usually it's joined by the Reaper, which we did see earlier. They're kind of separating, the number's not significant. So I like this from Silky. Just grab some lings, throw them over, and just check out that wall. See what's showing up. Is it double engineering bay? Is it a CC? Maybe you can do some counterattack damage, but it gets you information at the very least.
Yep, he's going to start working on this depot, and then the moment he takes out this depot, Jeff, I think he can actually... Couldn't he?
He could have.
Yeah, he just didn't want to.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, he wouldn't have achieved that much there. He's still got a couple of SCVs, so it's not bad, but he also spots the Cyclone, and that's pretty big. Because how often do you see 4 Hellions and then suddenly 2 Cyclones? Those Cyclones, they need to get something done. The amount of queens, by the way, shout out to our macro support unit, is getting really up there. That's a decent amount of queens, Jeff.
You know, isn't it nice that when the going gets tough, they can roll up their sleeves and just kind of put down all forms of aggression as well? Is it like, are you in the sky? Deal with it. Are you on the ground? We'll heal each other until you're dealt with as well. And it's just... it's nice to see that kind of support coming out from the Queen.
Yes, they do truly support each other through thick.
Feels like, you know, like Protoss, we used to have this thing called like the Mothership Core, and it was cool because like it too could help us in support and kind of hold off attacks. And then, you know, Blizzard snatched it away, and now we don't have that anymore. So we just have Classic versus Maru, right?
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Fantastic match, by the way. You guys should definitely check that out.
Alrighty, Stim is on the way, +1 weapon. So for a split second, I was wondering, could Semper maybe go all out on Hellions and Cyclones? But now he fired up Stim pretty quickly after that. I still kind of feel that he would have liked to do maybe a little bit more with the 2 Cyclones, unless he's just like, nope, I know Silky, and I know with this Hydra Bane style, that creep is incredibly important to his strategy. So let me just get those Cyclones, why not? If I can get those Cyclones out as well, and I can actually push that creep back a lot further, then it's worth it. But so far, they are not actually willing to take the fight against the Queens.
No, I feel like when you watch Semper, we saw Puck really, and this is, you know, this is kind of a weird reference because I don't know that many people remember Puck versus Semper from Season 1 WCS Challenger, but Puck went into it, and I feel like, without knowing, because I don't think I ever was able to ask Puck, he knew that Semper's like really passive, does the kind of I'm out on the map control thing, but there's never going to be an attack behind it, there's no threat. And I feel like Semper can get typecasted that way, right? Like if you know there's nothing behind that, you just keep droning, you sit on your 6 queens, and it's just, it becomes a really uphill battle for a player like Semper, I feel. If you don't mix it up, mix up the tempo, something, you know?
He's down 14 workers at this point. Not a single drone went down. 3 SCVs did actually go down, so this actually reminds me a little more of Silky versus Vindicta, where Silky did have those good starts, right? Where he didn't really take any economic damage. And even though all those games were hard fought, It's always nice as a Zerg when all you're losing is a couple Zerglings here and there. That's just simply way better than losing drones, especially when you think of 25 drones that went down on Acid Plant. I'm not sure if I'm feeling this game for Semper so far, Jeff. I really feel that this is a much better setup for Silky.
Things are going to have to turn around here, and with this double medevac drop, Semper's going to try and do just that.
Yeah, but this is one of those moments where, like, I really want to sneak a drop to the other side of the map, but I can't because there's
You know what's
creep
kind of funny?
everywhere.
He actually could, though. He could go to the lower part of the map and get into the main. Funny enough. I don't know that that's necessarily the best target, especially if you're not doing any other drop or movement out on the map. This is a weird... This is like try-hardy poke, but it's just kind of, it's bothering me. Look at how many active tumors, and just tumors in general there are, and then look at how they're going down 3 paths, essentially. It's like, get some creep tumor diversity here, for Pete's sake, Silky. I'm nitpicking, like I said. And we were spoiled because we just watched Scarlet. And her creep spread is redonkulous.
But it is sometimes nice to still have an active creep tumor in the middle, because when it gets scanned, you know, if it misses the active one, then even if your queen is not there, you can immediately replace the creep that you just lost with that one active one that was outside of the scan ratio.
Double drop top left, I believe. Also sneaking around. It's going to get spotted by the Overlord, but just outside the third. But here's my problem with Semper. Like, there's the movement, and that's okay. It's going to get a couple of creep tumors, a queen or two there as well. But no real threat, right? So, like, this army over here, okay, a couple creep tumors opens up the space. Spore Caller is going to kill both medevacs.
Oh, that's kind of painful. These medevacs will still be able to do a little bit of economic damage, but I mean, that should have been way more, right? This should have been a way scarier drop than just 7 Marines that, yes, they do have stim, but that's about it. Even the Queen and the drones should eventually take care of it. Still 10 drones, though.
Yeah, good focus on the drones there.
Yeah. That is nice. At the same time, the battle of the creep is still going forward. A couple of queens did get picked up. That's another queen going down. I feel the Silky almost got a little over-eager, trying to get creep up this high ground as well.
Yeah.
Twice, and he ended up paying the price with, I think, 4 queens in total.
Not to be a Zerg apologist, but, like, now is the time where it's okay to lose a queen or two.
Yeah.
It's never okay, per se, but you know, they're not defending right now. Bio's getting too powerful, so it's all right. And here come all these banelings. I actually love this, because in my own experience, and obviously I'm a garbage Terran, and a lot of the Terrans I play against are lower level, but I feel like dealing with 30 banelings, or like 40 or 50 like we saw earlier, is so hard. You can't go on creep. You just simply can't. And even off creep, you need to micro this giant army really well against that many banelings.
I have to admit, I'm pretty excited about the idea of burrowed banelings, Chef.
All right, is it going to happen? Are you?
Yes, burrow's done.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, are you teasing me about a concept and it's not going to be applied? But here it is.
No, I'm not teasing you. We're not casting a game that's not actually happening.
All right, banelings going to try to connect there. This is off creep though, so pulling back does Semper. Now enjoying a supply advantage, and on the left side there is a drop that unfortunately will not be going any further. But Silky, you were talking about being over-eager about creep spread. Well, that was over-eager aggression, right? Like, Silky and I have the same idea. We're like, how does someone defend this many banelings? And it's like, well, like that. Off creep, you can back up on it.
And actually, a lot of the Banes connected with those tanks as well that were already very exposed, and I think the Hydras could have just taken care of those tanks. Now, Silky is going to counterattack. He's going to try to do something about this fort base. This is what I love, by the way. A single link. Yes, burrow that Zergling as well. I like this. This kind of stuff is super annoying to deal with. Ooh, the doors are kind of open as well, but...
Yeah, it's going to cost a tank, which is nice, and then a nice little cute skirt over there with the 3 links, and burrows them. You know, it's a small thing, it's not the end of the world, but those burrows that cost a scan and kind of show the Terran, now you got to scan out on the map because burrowed banelings can happen. It's pretty cool. It does actually have a lot of damage just by going for that upgrade.
You can see that Silky is potentially thinking about engaging into all these tanks, and he's like, should I know? Maybe just with a couple of the Hydras, but I mean the Marines are there as well.
Terrible call. That was
not the one.
That's the one that wouldn't make it to the movie, where like a bunch of Hydras are like, wow, there's like 6 tanks up on that cliff. Let's get just below them and do what we can, and it just flattens them. But that kind of baits Semper into thinking he can push forward. I mean, this position's really great, but pushing beyond this is going to be really tough. And there's Vipers out now as well.
Yep, so a couple of Abducts, a couple of Blinding Clouds. I mean, I think a Blinding Cloud should at least be able to connect with these 2 tanks, maybe even all 3 there, even though that would be kind of hard. Semper is active with a couple of Marines on the left top side as well. Maybe he's going to push that creep back a little bit further so he can eventually hide his drops better. No, he's just going to stim forward, all right. But it seems like we're getting ready for a big fight.
This has to be happening. Okay, there goes the whole army. Never mind.
I mean, it is 16 Marines.
Yeah.
And then maybe he wants to wait for his upgrades. That would actually make a lot of sense, right? He's seconds away from getting 3-3.
And this spot, we saw this earlier in the series, I believe it was against Scarlet. This spot doesn't threaten anything. It's a staging point. So Silky can wait. Like, why not?
It's really funny how that works out, because in PvZ or PvT, this is not that important, but it seems like it's a crucial moment here in Terran versus Zerg as Blinding Clouds and Abducts do land. And some of these tanks get picked off immediately, but a lot of these Hydras still eat big shots, though, of the few tanks that were remaining. The bailing count, however, is still very high, so I have a hard time believing that Semper can just push forward and really get something done.
I wish Silky would take a read out of the Serral chapter and really be counterattacking with Lings and Banelings all the time. It's such a small thing, but just constantly killing 10, 15 SCVs does so much damage to a Terran. But when a Terran can just trade out its army over here like this.
The tanks before were not that scary, but these tanks are starting to become a little more problematic. Silky knows it. He tries to connect with the Marines with all of his banings, and this seems like a much better engagement, Jeff.
Yeah.
As Zerg comes in from every angle, the swarm has truly arrived. Most of the tanks got picked off, just a single tank remaining there. Well done by Silky. I think this was a much better fight.
Absolutely. It's a lot of the tech that went down. Like, look at this, just one medevac. We've seen some pretty good harass from Semper, but one of the problems that Terrans can run into, and I certainly think it applies here, is all of a sudden you're down to 2 medevacs, right? So never mind the fact that you can't drop because you don't have the ability to, but every time you stem that full army, everything just kind of sits on that yellow health or just not as much health, so it becomes a problem.
Now, we had a game before on Lost and Found, in Silky versus Invicta, where he just didn't see that 5th base being taken. It's really important he keeps track of the economy of Semper to have a good feel of what kind of trades he can make, how aggressive he has to be as he abducts one more tank, and these Ultras, well, they're eating a couple of shots. Use the Zerglings.
We'll have to see if he's going to go up there. It looks like he is. Yep, okay, he does scout.
And this is
learn from his lesson.
Yep, very, very good scout. Right when it starts morphing into a planetary, and that's what you want to do. I mean, this is very annoying. I don't know if there's any bios saving this planetary here. A couple of Marines going to stim forward. But this is good stuff, though. Damn, look at those links. +3 adrenal glands.
Pretty good. You set fire to it. Now, of course, it can be repaired, but just that alone is annoying. And again, with the burrow, which is kind of cute, can force out a scan. The Ultras are a bit of an issue. There is a decent Marauder count, but ideally you'd like to see, and I was just about to say, Liberators. Well, he's making 4 at a time, so there will be
ballistics as
there will be some fantastic Liberators here pretty soon.
Yep. Advanced ballistics, I truly think one of the best upgrades that Terran can go for in any phase of the game, when they can actually afford it without falling behind. It's just, it's just massive what they can do. The Liberator just becomes 3 times as good.
Yeah, it's funny because it's just a range upgrade. We know how good Liberators are anyways, but the further you have to slog through that damage, it's just ridiculous. But here we go. Viper stepping forward, a couple of abducts, a couple of blinding clouds, nullifying a lot of the tanks in a good full surround coming out from Silky. There is that chapter from Serral, not the one that I was asking for, but perhaps the more important one, which is to fight from multiple angles. We've heard of the book of, you know, the book of Sun Tzu. This is the book of Serral, StarCraft, of course. And the creep threat is an issue still, by the way. Even with all those queens dying and a lot of the aggression taking place on that, you can see a couple of pathways making their way towards those expansions.
Yeah, these depots will finally get taken care of. And this is obviously a very exposed base with quite a few exposed SCVs. Semper realizes that as well. He's going to temporarily evacuate. But there you have those advanced ballistics kick in. Yeah, good luck, have fun. Especially if Ultras are in front of your Hydras. Ooh, that's a full medevac. That's nice. Nice little donation there.
That's nice. It's nice. And now fighting on creep. And the rule of thumb for Terran players is you cannot. So with that creep being right there, it's a bit of an issue.
What would you like to see against Liberators? Maybe
Corruptors.
Corruptors
I just like Corruptors, and you just keep them with your army. It doesn't even have to be Broodlords. It's like the threat of Broodlords is fine. But just 9-10 Corruptors constantly killing medevacs, constantly killing the Liberators, I think is so big.
I really enjoy a couple of parasitic bombs as well, because I find it so annoying for Terran players when they have to repair their units. Like, who does that? Who has time to? Ain't nobody got time for that. Bring over SCVs, repair every Liberator that lost 20, 30 HP.
I was just going to say, they usually just don't. Who's got time for that? Well, all Terran players like raise their hand like, not us. We never do.
That was the first attempt of burrowed banelings, unfortunately. Okay, he's gonna burrow these right here. I like it. That's nice. I'm getting excited over here, Jeff.
Nice.
Where is he? Where's this little guy going? At the same time, there is a Ling run by, but the depots have been rebuilt. Lings with +3 and adrenal glands. Can we focus?
Can we get some Ling with adrenal glands in the chat, please?
Can we get some appreciation for Lings with +3 and adrenal glands? Because I really feel they put in way more work than people think.
You know what, by the way, of all the things that at times Blizzard very, I would say diplomatically, has been like, please don't refer to him that way. I thought it was interesting that cracklings kind of always
being okay?
slipped through the cracks. It was like, yeah, that's okay to say. What's that referring to? It's them on the drug cocaine. Well, you know what? It happens. The Zergling gets a pound of powder. It happens. Like, not a big deal.
Well, Jeff, I think you just ruined that term for all of us.
Wait, it's not. No, it's not that though. I actually just messed it up.
I think it's gonna be.
It's not. It's not. I'm not gonna go into further. I know it's not cocaine, guys. By the way, it's just. It's funny because you just saw how vanilla I am. I'm like, I believe it's the drug cocaine. Someone's like, no, it's method.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Is that the rapper?
All right, there's a burrow circling here. That's once again being annoying. Oh,
hey.
There's some nice abducts. That is a very sweet pickup. 16 units at the same time. Lings with +3 and Adrenal Glands are running in there as well. And I think this is going pretty damn good for Silky. He's even getting a couple of those liberated. But these Lings are just going to town.
Semper holds on. 57 workers is something to work with. It's just like situationally it's bad. Over here, this base has been exploited, right? It's been cracked open, so he's going to constantly have to defend that. And at this stage of the game, we're pushing 20 minutes. Semper's trying to take the north side. He's trying to take 12 o'clock, which means he has to defend against this whole area that's all with creep right outside of it. It's the impossible task, Roddy.
I really enjoy seeing Silky burrow these Zerglings over and over again.
Yeah.
Because then you think you're out of it and you're ready to focus on your army, and then suddenly these Lings show up again and you're like, oh my goodness.
Where did they come from?
There's a very exposed planetary as well. Actually, the Lings can just take care of this before it even morphs into a planetary. At the same time, Silky is also active, once again trying to deny this base from morphing into a planetary. Silky is playing way better than he was in his first series of the day, Jeff.
I love the burrow stuff. You don't see it very often. You might think that this is styling or something. It's not. It's just a really good tactical thing. As Roddy pointed out, you can kind of stop them from landing the buildings, or you can just, at least, at the very worst, force out a scan, which, when you fall behind like this, that's one of the last things you want to do. Now, Semper somehow finds himself, by the way. So, I mean, we've been talking about Silky playing really well, and we are, and he's in an amazing position. But let's also give a tip, of the Fedora for Semper here, who is still pushing for, going on 5 bases, has an army that is actually approaching Silky level, and it's pretty good.
The problem is, if you look from his vision, we all know as a StarCraft player, this is not the vision you want.
It is not. No. Tucked in the corner with the Zerg forces like circling around outside.
What I see is always like a kid sitting in the corner holding his blanket. It's like, it's really scary out there and you don't see anything else. That's what I see when I see mini-maps like that. And that's just not a good way to play StarCraft. You can't. And obviously Semper is trying to change that. He is trying to get some map presence with this drop in the left top side of the map, the drop in the right bottom side of the map, and at the same time moving forward with his main army. But whenever all you see is your few bases and you know that your opponent has more bases, it's just not a good spot.
Well, he has no bank. He has no bank at all, so it's down to this army. I mean, he's got money coming in behind it, but if he just gets just a clear wipe of his army, there's really no coming back from that. Pushing forward now, a huge liberation field, and he's got a lot of Marauders, I would say, by the way, so pretty kitted out nicely for Ultras, but there's Broodlords coming in, Roddy, and yeah, the Ghosts are okay against that, but it's just the Ghosts that can deal with that. There's no Vikings. There's one being made right now. Liberators are a terrible counter to Broodlords in anti-air department.
I want to see some parasitic bombs. We haven't seen a single one.
Are you asking for some parasitic bombs?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get some.
You know what? Here, I'm going to message Silky.
Just drop a couple for me.
Can Roddy please get some parasitic bombs here?
Can I get some noise for a parasitic bomb?
Here we go. Abductions, not parasitic bombs. There's a nice EMP. We've seen a lot of that today. But is it enough, though? As these Ultras plow forward through the bottom courses, the Broodlords don't have much in the way of anything to challenge them. And he's even making his Corruptors into Broodlords in the face of this fight.
Yeah, then he's like, no, I need some anti-air. So he
actually needs some at all.
So he cancels it. He's going to take care of it. It's funny because Semper's supply is still up there, like you said before as well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that, right? It really feels that this is almost a lost game for Semper.
Well, Silky's like kind of hesitating on what to remax with, which is interesting.
Yeah.
He's just floating a bunch of money, so it's not like the choice is not there for him. He's just kind of waiting. This little bit of drop press, despite that, though, is quite nice. Because you can have a lot of minerals, but in this late game stage, if you don't have gas, then you're just making a bunch of lings, and that can become a problem, Roddy.
Absolutely.
As 12 o'clock, by the way, which I think is getting denied by a burrowed ling. God!
That's so annoying.
I love that, by the way, like at BlizzCon and various different places, whenever there's like a Blizzard panel, almost inevitably one of the questions that comes up in a very joking way every time, how come a burrowed Zergling stops a command center from landing? Thank you, young man in the audience. We are so sick and tired of that question.
Next question, please.
No, but seriously. Fizzling run by attempt here.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. So someone could be like, ah, Jeff, you idiot, it didn't work. It's not even that it didn't work, it's that it keeps occupying the attention of Semper.
It's really annoying, and it also prevents Semper from really focusing on his arrest, right? They see Liberator just flying into his spore. And that's obviously because he's distracted by...
Well, now this one...
This is a kind of expensive little run by.
What an inspired Ultralist. It's like, you know what? I'm so sick and tired of people saying I'm too fat to do a run by. And we cut to him at like 3 health, and just like, splash. So funny. Just my one guaranteed Roddy breakdown. That's all I wanted. It was good, though. And your camera work is what made it funny, too. It's like, all of a sudden, Ultra at his base. All right. Semper's still kicking and screaming. This is like the Alanis Morissette album that came out 30 years later. She's like, no, I can still do music.
I mean, like you said before, Silky doesn't have too much gas, and he actually spent most of his minerals as well. He is one bad fight away from... actually losing this game too, right? And we've given him a lot of compliments, and he absolutely deserved them. But now suddenly, I feel like Semper has been making a lot of good plays, and if he can secure it, there we have a parasitic bomb. It is not doing that much, but it did a little bit of damage to the Viper. A little bit. Look at the Overseer, by the way, when it parks in that mode. Yeah, it's big eyes. It's like bouncing a ball off its back. That's his eye. Oh, is it? Yeah, that's why his nose. And Zerglings will take care of all those. For one second, we're like, look at Semper go, and then this. He's got to hold on to 12 o'clock. His other base is drying up, so but he's not going to, right? He's just going to give up. It is actually a sick move by Silky that he managed to break this position with the Planetary Fortress and all those Liberators, and of course the Ghosts on the ground as well, because like you said, this was a very important base. We can take a look at He's backing up. That's weird. I don't know why he would back up there. He's one base away from just winning the game. There's actually no other minerals being mined. Well, okay, at that 4th base, there's 2. Oh, this is a big little army on the right-hand side. It's a big little army. Yeah, it's around. I thought it was like a little run by, but a couple Banelings, they blow up on them, mostly on the Marauder, but a couple of them do connect with the Marines, and that should be enough in the end. At the same time, Silky is moving forward with his Broodlord force and his Vipers as well, and his Corruptors. There suddenly seems to be a whole lot of Zerg and not that much Terran anymore. And we're just not seeing an answer from Semper. He's going to come forward with his Liberators. That's it. GG is called out. A nice fight between these two young American Challenger players. Yep. So last time in Challenger, these two went up against each other twice, right? It was a 1-2 and then it was a 2-0 or the other way around. What I feel, and I'm not saying that Silky on purposely lost the first series of the day, but there is a... No, but you know what I mean. But still, there is a chance that Silky looked at this group, he's like, okay, I can either give it everything I got in my first series and then potentially lose against Scarlet, and then I might have to go up against Semper again. And what if I've already shown too much then? Because I feel I just watched a different Silky than I saw in the first best of 3 of the day. And obviously he was probably playing it, but maybe not showing everything he had. You know, maybe a couple aces up his sleeve. And well, I like the way he played this game. There's something to be said too for the advanced rounds. You kind of get the butterflies out. That first match is really tough because you know we've got a great audience out there. Give it up to you guys watching. It was closing on 10,000 when I was looking. That's a lot of people. For these guys, how many times do they play in front of 10,000 people? Yeah, Semper definitely more experience with that. But yeah, more experience. But even then, just in Challenger for the most part. I mean, he's made some appearances at WCS as well. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. But once you get a couple of games out, even I would say losing a match actually kind of gets a lot of the butterflies out. It's really hard to win consecutively, even for really, really good players, because the pressure mounts and your opponents tend to get harder. But in this case, butterflies out, gave us a good show, and now we can see why Silky is so touted. Yep. And it's too bad that Ravi had to head home early, actually, because he would have loved to have seen this. He's playing really well right now. Yeah. Well, he's still here. I know. Jeff, I actually can't do those jokes. They really don't like that too, because they're like, some people will believe that. Ravi just head home. Ravi didn't even. He's just done commentating. He's gone. So that one's too much bullying, Jeff. Too much bullying. You know what I always say? My selling point is I'm about an 85%er. You're going to get 15% pretty terrible jokes. It's going to happen. Right. But the other 85 are also terrible for the most part. All right, our next map is going to be played on 16-bit. We've seen this map a couple of times today. I said it earlier today, normally this map screams macro, but then you also have blind and it screams Nidus, and it did scream a Nidus. I don't think we're going to see a Nidus here. I think we're going to see more of the same. This is also one of those maps where if you get those 6, 7 queens out early on, there's a lot of ways to spread creep. And this is a little bit more annoying, I think, than Lost and Found, because there's a lot of side blockers and you know, like the little gas thingy coming out of the map. But at the same time, I still believe that if you do a good job spreading creep here, that is also massive, because then, yes, it is a great map for drops, but they pretty much always go over land, at least at one part of the map. So if you have creep there, if you have vision, it's going to be very hard for Semper to catch Silky out of position. And I think that's the main story of the game, last game. What did Silky truly lose at drones? At one point, it was like 12, 14 drones. That's
way into the game, though.
Yeah, that was like that was 20 minutes in, or maybe 15 minutes in. But
it was 0 up until then. So they just kind of died by a couple of marine drops and medevac drops. I will say too, and this is going to sound like a criticism, but I more mean it just as like a tendency, and it can be evaluated as a criticism. But NA players tend to not mix it up as well. Like if they win with macro, I've almost never see them go, well, now I'm cheesing next game. They don't really break it up. That's kind of what was so special about what Semper did to Scarlet. It just started off the series with a cheese when he is known so well for never doing that. But to your point about like Nidus and stuff like that, I really don't expect it. I think Silky just does exactly what he did last game.
And I can sort of understand that as well, especially if you're still kind of new to the big stage. Like if he had 3,000 tournament games under his belt, I could understand that. But right now, you're one map away from making it into the top 8 of WCS North America Challenger. That's a big deal. And you do not want to throw away that lead by doing a build that, you know, you don't feel like you have to. You're like, okay, I just cheesed in game 2 and it didn't work. And then you're going into game 3 and you have that little talk with yourself, Jeff. You know, why did I do that build? I didn't have to cheese at all. Why did I do that?
That voice in your head, man. Well, here we are. We're on 16-bit, and we're going to go ahead and introduce these players for the 19th time today, in case some of you guys are just now joining us. In the top right-hand side, he's a law student, and he is known as Semper.
On the left bottom side of 16-bit, we're looking at the main base of the Zerg that is representing Storm Gaming. He is still young, but definitely up and coming. It is Silky.
Huge shout out to Blizzard, by the way. I did fall into a small conversation about narcotics, and I still have not been fired, so I just want to give you guys just know that I'm aware that that was unacceptable, and I'm still here, so I really appreciate that.
Jeff, maybe you have to lay low right now. Lay low on
it's in the Discord chat. They're like, no, you actually are fired, but you can't do it in the middle of a series. Fair enough. I would accept that with my head held up high. And I'm not saying that because that's what happens when you do drugs. No help there?
No. I'm gonna let that
I'm on my own?
I'm gonna let that sink in for a second or two. Jeff.
Yeah? You're gonna let that dissolve?
Yes.
Jeepers creepers. By the way, as predicted, both these players absolutely for right now, sliding into very much so macro openings. Nothing too terribly exciting here. You know, there was a time, by the way, for you young Buck StarCraft fans that are just now joining us. If you did not know, StarCraft is free to play, but there was a time where you had to pay a decent amount, a worthy amount of money for this game, and then you actually only started with, what was it? Was it 6 workers back in the day?
Yep.
6 workers. Yeah. And every TVZ was the same thing, but nothing changed for literally 6 minutes. There was nothing to talk about for 6 minutes.
Yeah, Wings of Liberty was crazy when everybody did the 6 Hellion opening and just Queen standing there, the full wall off. Those were the glory days of StarCraft 2.
And you as a commentator, by the way, were expected to talk through every one of those moments.
Yeah, the gas timings.
Oh, wow, there's no gas here, actually. That's going to make taking the 3rd hard because the creep tumor's got to connect. Oh my gosh, so I'm so thankful that we're now in an era where you don't have to wait very long for action to kick in, and here we go with that Reaper. Now, the normal dance here is that nothing dies. It's just a question of how much can you scout, see the intention, maybe get a cheeky drone or two.
Maybe a Zergling, that's...
maybe. You're not supposed to, though.
No, you're not supposed to get a drone. You're not really supposed to get lings, but lings are kind of forgiven because a single ling is not that big of a deal. But I think in general, if you have a Reaper, you pick up a ling and you force one drone to morph into a spore, you're already like, ha, that's something, you know, that's more than I had.
I was just here to get information, but I did some damage.
Exactly. If you get a drone, you're like, woo, game's almost over.
And if you no, you get mean about it. You're like, what a noob.
And if you get 2 drones, that's when you bring over a worker and you spray GG.
Yep.
In front of his natural.
Jeez Louise.
And they leave.
And then leave, and the game continues anyways. It's like clearly not over at all.
It's like you just lost all that mining time to spray GG. But it was worth it.
Worth it for sure.
It is a triple CC opening by Semper, so very economic. Obviously, that makes sense. Like we said, guys, this is one of the most macro-oriented, maybe the most macro-oriented map we currently have in the pool. Some people might say, like, what about Darkness Sanctuary? The ramps are just so massive on that map that it's actually a really good map for cheesing, even though it is a big map.
And that's why I would say it's the most vetoed map, especially in best of 3. But we haven't. To give you an idea, it has not been played at least today. It might have made an appearance on the first 2 days of this Season 2. But I can't remember.
You don't see it a lot, especially on best of 3. Best of 5s, you're going to see it a little more often. Because I think a lot of people are like, you know, I don't dislike the map. It's just a little wonky, but I expect you to veto it.
Yeah.
If you don't veto it, well, then I'm not vetoing it either.
Play the veto meta.
Yeah, because I really hate Catalyst. And then the other guy's like, would you rather play Darkness Sanctuary than Catalyst?
And then it shows up, and you're both like, dang it.
Yes.
And they blame the other.
Those things happen. So multiple queens on the way. Of course, we've seen this dance before.
And it is bio, by the way, behind this.
I'm happy to see that.
You like a little bit of bio?
Yeah. I think there was absolutely more potential than what Semper got out of his bio play in the previous game. I think Silky plays phenomenal with Hydra Bane, but he, well, at least once a game, he has this one engagement where it's like, that wasn't the right one, you know? And he's like, oh, okay, I got to keep myself in check. It's almost like he's so eager to fight and get those beautiful engagements and connections that sometimes he gets a little lost in where his units actually come from.
Agreed. Can happen. And it is just the 5 queens pushing us back. For some reason, the Reaper left. I think he was going to try to jump up in the main or something.
The Reaper got picked off.
It's dead now.
The Reaper got picked off.
Oh, rip to the Reaper. And now we see some Viking harass, which I do like. That opens up the airspace, so if you're kind of wondering what that does, yes, it gets an Overlord or 2 kill, but the reason for that is to clear airways for those early drops. And with that 3rd CC and now tanks coming out, the ability for aggression from Semper is pretty diminished. But you want that mid-game aggression because it cannot go for too long. Like 3 CC, that's fine. But if you just show up at minute 10 and the map's covered in creep and they're at, you know, almost hive tech, you're like, well, that was fun. Guess I'm dead now.
Taking a look at the main base of Silky, as he does have his lair done. I'm expecting Baning Nest to start, because that is something that he gets very quickly almost every single game. And that's, I think, one of the main reasons why he doesn't struggle that much against most of those early pushes.
Yeah.
Obviously, it becomes a lot easier when you do have Baning speed. I almost feel like he forgot it this game, Jeff.
He has Baning.
Yeah, but he has no Baning speed.
Ah, no Baning speed, you're saying.
And normally he kind of rushes that upgrade out. I'm starting to get a little bit worried.
Are you becoming concerned, you'd say?
Slightly.
Okay.
Uncomfortable as well.
Keep me updated on that as that progresses.
Okay. My anxiety levels are going through the roof. If I don't see that Baning upgrade,
can we get a heart, like a heart monitor for Roddy as the commentator, like, where you put the mic really close to your mouth.
There we go. He's got it.
And I like the 4th base timing, by the way, from Silky. Very safe. And this is the first real poke out from Semper. And you'll notice nothing in the way of spotting over here, except Silky has had those 4 Banelings, a Queen, and a Sporclar parked there basically the entire time.
Yep. It's double Spore even. I mean, this is just terrible.
Triple.
What? Triple Spore? Oh my goodness.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Didn't
And the Queen's there.
Yeah, good luck, have fun. You probably don't want to drop it.
You know what?
There's another Spore in the main as well.
I like it from Silky. This attack is the obvious one. Look at this!
Double
Look where he's
Spore.
going! You can't!
No, nowhere.
It's like, what about down here?
No.
This is like fighting the computer. He's like, wait, you've got your base ringed in spore crawlers?
Wow, he somehow finds a little angle, at least for the medevac.
Did he, though?
Yeah, not. At least he saves the medevac.
Escapes disaster, but he gets nothing from that.
I would have lost both medevacs there.
Mine mid-map would have happened, and people would be like, is that a bug? Gonna replant the creep here, and here's my problem with Semper, and this tends to happen. There's nothing else going on. There's nothing else, so that drop is all Silky has to focus on. Otherwise, he's just smashing out the drones, and I feel like this game becomes pretty simple for him, and I feel like Zerg in particular, I think Protoss is way up there too, but when you don't harass a Zerg at all, and just be like, I'll show up at 9 minutes, I think they're impossible to kill. It's really hard. It's
fun as well, right? Because you see this pretty often, and then you always see these very tough games. And of course, yes, the Terran player is going to have a few more units.
Yeah.
But in general, Circus is going to have a few more units than they normally have because you didn't do any economic damage.
Yeah.
And then you cast a couple of these games, and then suddenly you get a game of special laser or whatever. It's like, oh, there you go. 18 drones go down to Liberators, Hellions, and it just keeps happening like that.
Multi-prong attacks. And this is the problem for it, though. Fighting on this creep. He's actually got to get back. He's only got the 3 medevacs. He can't pick up the whole force. Some friendly fire does go down on top of him, but no Bane is connecting.
Yeah, single one actually got a pretty decent connection there. That was, what was that?
replants the creep tumors, and Semper's just going to back away. So this is my actual problem with this, Roddy, is that by the time you do push out, you're fighting over creep. Not even on it, because that's obviously something Terrans don't do anymore. It's 2018 for Pete's sakes. But you're fighting over creep, and you're not challenging a base. You're not winning space. You're not like, there's nothing to be accomplished there except you're just kind of mitigating the disaster.
I still like to fight on creep. It's really fun.
Wow. That's why you're here, my friend.
I know. I'm okay with it. A little too impatient to clean up all the sumers.
You just can't. And remember that used to happen all the time, by the way. Like, it's actually really nice seeing the Terrans now know that law. They just do not fight on creep for the most part.
Oh, so he was distracted by his army in the top side of the map, which means that he loses.
Curse thing.
Almost.
So stupid.
And he steps on
Just
creep.
never fight on creep. Literally, you can play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music like, wah, 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 and then just like, die. Sorry, Mark, that was the one time. That's not a fight. See, and that's off creep, and you can't take it. But Silky's won so much space that he's going to be well into hive tech before ever having to worry about something.
I like how Silky is engaging and already dropping creep tumors like right behind it. So that's actually not a safe zone right now for your creep to go.
I hope it will be though, right?
He's going to go for one of those.
And it won't work. It won't work. But I like that he's poking and prodding. And just leave him. And there's still no 4th base for Semper, by the way. There is a CC, so he's definitely trying to. But for right now, with a 5th base already going down for Silky, pretty darn good spot for our young North American Zerg.
What you also do with these run-bys is that you force Terran to keep units at home,
Yes.
which means that the main army that's out on the map is actually going to be a little bit smaller in general, and that may allow Silky to get that great engagement. But obviously Semper is aware of that dance as well. It's not his first rodeo, so he's going to try to prevent that and reinforce the army before it's too late.
There is that Adrenal upgrade and the Ultralisk Cavern as well, so some pretty big heavy hitters coming in here soon. All of a sudden, Lings become a very real threat to holding off these attacks, by the way. And again, not really paying attention. It's going to lose the full force over there.
Yeah, he's paying attention to the main army, and yes. I mean, it is sloppy, but on the other end, you can't really blame him, because if he loses this clump of Marines, that could very well be game ending.
I'll blame him, but to your point, it's not like it's the easiest thing. It's not like he made the choice to just be like, no, I'm going to just go ahead and move those Marines over there. StarCraft's a really challenging game, but
it's also Silky just always having a couple banelings in the mix there, right?
It's pretty good.
I feel like Silky is getting the better trades on the south side of this map, but Semper is getting the better trades on the north side.
But it's just taking forever, Roddy. There's already, I believe I saw Vipers out. We have Ultras coming up into shape here in a second. And here goes this fight.
Most of those tanks were not siege yet, Jeff, so he's going to pick up a bunch of his Marines, and that also means that a lot of these tanks are just going to get picked off. He drops the Marines behind the side blockers. Not too many banelings in the mix anymore, though, so this is risky for Silky, especially off creep.
He cannot take the fight, but he lost all of the tanks, and he's making one tank at a time is Semper.
The Queens!
And I feel like, well, okay, here's a couple of tanks over here, but he's just down to like this one bullet in the chamber. If this attack doesn't start to really get something done, I think Semper's done, man.
I mean, it's just Ultras. Ultras are not as scary as they used to be. Marauders are good units right now.
Okay, Kevin.
I mean, if it's Ultras and Broodlords, I'm with you, Jeff. Then I'm like, oh no. But if it's just Ultras...
I constantly find myself as the curmudgeon-y, like, Debbie Downer on the cast, and you and Rob be like, no, man. He's got Marauders. He's got a chance. You just got to believe. And I'm like, no, he's dead. Don't be silly.
I'm not saying that I'm loving it, but I don't think he's dead. Oh, a couple of Vipers. Good pickups there. I mean, those are kind of expensive units that he just sniped. A couple of those Vipers going down.
Not bad.
What is it what you want to say, Jeff? That was one of your yes, and then you've got normally a very witty comment. Yeah! But what about the 17 Broodlords that are in his main?
Yeah, it's just 6 bases behind this. I want to believe, though, Roddy. I'm cheering for it like you. I'd love a game 3. Semper's a great guy. He's playing really hard, but he's mid-map fighting creep back. And I've seen these movies before that it doesn't go well for the Space Marines, the Terran here.
The one worry thing is that he's indeed not having like advanced ballistics behind all of this. He doesn't have 5 or 6 ghosts coming out at once, so he is absolutely one bad fight away from losing this game completely. But so far he's been doing a good job when it comes to the main army fights. Except this one point where a few too many tanks were on siege. There is my Ghost Academy though.
Yep.
So he is thinking about that phase in the game, and on the other end you can see that he clearly does want to get something done with this army in this phase in the game, but it's going to be hard because now he's kind of stepping on creep, Jeff.
He's fighting on creep. Tanks behind is going to do what they can, but there's a good 2-prong attack coming in. Viper still with some energy. There's an Induct Fort on those tanks, and Medevacs gets all of it. The Ultra giving route here as Banelings try to pursue, but they are off creep now. And we've seen a pretty good effort from Semper to go ahead and diminish that creep. The tanks will, oh my gosh, that final one with a little bit of health, even sniping the Viper. Now also, with that base getting poked and prodded, we have a middle base here. That's the 4th base. Gonna be pushed off by these really well upgraded Zerglings. 3-3 about to finish. 6 Ultras coming out, Roddy.
Well, at the same time, Semper is going to go for this hatch one more time. He will get it and then pick up as quick as he can. Oh, a couple of those Benefacts so low on HP. And they will live. What about a parasitic bomb in them?
That'd be nice. Would be good.
No, I just look, whenever I see something like this, I'm like thinking of 2 things. Either give me some High Templars to feedback all of them, or give me a parasitic bomb.
Yeah. Actually escaping with a lot of the forces. Yeah. And the creep now is fairly manageable. It's just about at mid-map, right? So Silky has fallen off with that. I think a lot of the queens, we were kind of laughing about it, but Roddy pointed out they were a little bit aggressive about, okay, let's get into that war zone over there. Did cost them. Here they come again.
Yes, right into the war zone. He did cancel those 2 more.
And now Semper pulls back and takes a breath. Both players max. They've done a good job with their upgrades. And he is Spire.
And he's getting ready for that next phase in the game, though, Jeff. So it's not just those Marines, and it's not just the Marauders that have to get the job done. He did finally got done what he wanted to get done, right? That is at least snipe a base, push the creep back, buy some more time for yourself. He got a cancel on this base at 6 o'clock as well.
To your point, Silky's only on 4 bases. He's building back 2. But we already have, well, 4 in addition to the main, so 5 bases, sorry. No, actually it is 4.
Parasitic. No, the Vipers! What? What? Okay, now it's really bad for Silky, because now the next Vipers that are going to spawn obviously won't have enough energy yet. There is a good chance that he's going to lose one of those...
he just might be counterattacking, which is a pretty bold choice, because this army from Semper is right here. And Silky's just saying, no, I'm going for it.
Couple Banelings, got close to having juicy connections, but that's not enough in the end. There is one Ultra here that's obviously not going to be enough. Let's see what this counter-attack can get done. That's a lot of Banelings that he loses. I mean, yes, he's going to get the Planetary and tank, but I don't actually like that trade that much with those Banes.
No. He's going to have to get this other base as well, and he's going to have to get it pretty clean. And it looks like for right now he is. There's just some ghosts here, and now Liberators show up.
Tiny bit too late. If this really showed up, well, actually, wow, he saves it.
Yeah.
I guess there's not enough surface area with the SCVs repairing as well. And even that orbital on the south side was making things a little bit more awkward. Well done. I mean, Silky with that engagement that he just had over here, I can't even really call it an engagement, where he lost the Vipers. He got himself in a world of trouble.
Yep. Just bad army control. And it gets hard at the late game, by the way, too. You know, all those units need to be on multiple hotkeys and whatnot. You can kind of see mistakes like that happen. Now, Semper's been put on alert. Definitely agree it's a favorable trade for Semper, and I would say he's in his best position yet, but he did lose a base. He lost his most fresh base, trying to reestablish the right side. He is still a bad fight in a base or 2 away from just being dead.
Yeah, but I think both players are actually on a really thin line right now. It's funny, because I was thinking 16-bit at first. I was like, I think this could go well for Silky. But this is not the greatest map for run-bys, right, and counterattacks. It's pretty straightforward, the first 3 bases, that is. And that makes it a little bit harder for this Zergling Bailing style to be super effective, unless the Terran is just very stubborn and clearly doesn't think about it.
Oh my god!
He sees the Ultra.
He sees it.
What is the Ultra doing over here?
It's like you're trying another run by that Ultra.
Spots the Bailing, spots a few more. Semper, there's more.
Burrow.
Oh, is this all Bailings?
Yes. They're just hiding, though. That's what I like about this. There's no way that's a trap.
Flank?
Oh!
Flank?
Are they on move command?
No!
Yeah, everybody! What? All right.
So anticlimactic. Oh my god! It worked! No.
Good micro. But the right side.
That worked.
But still.
Gets the Planetary, and that's nice. I mean, it wasn't for free, because 25 Bailings or so.
Yeah.
Whoa, did you see that Ultra? It just made a 360. It ignored the orbital that was, or the command center that was building. It spun around a little bit. And then
around.
Just moonwalked out of there.
You ever gotten so excited you jumped up in the air and did a 360?
That was sick.
That happens.
That Ultra was all over the place.
Both players bloodying each other up. Silky, both players actually with a little bit of a bank worth mentioning as well. It is Semper with a bigger army. And this is that weird part of the game, too, where the creep has not been maintained, like, at all.
Oh, this is so annoying, by the way. Can we give a shout out to Advanced Ballistics?
Can we please give a shout out to just Liberators in general?
Yes.
Can I get some Liberators in chat, guys, please?
Does somebody have a Liberator?
I don't know. Probably Nathanius, I would guess, right?
Yes. Alright, well, more Liberators sieging up on this base, and Silky's economy is just simply not that great anymore. You can see that now, even though Semper just lost that base on the right side, he is taking a minor income advantage. This base got sniped as well. I mean, what does Silky have? I guess he has this base that is just up and running. We still see the drones. This one is about to run out. Armies getting awfully close to each other.
Oof.
Army of Semper is more powerful though, Joe.
A lot of ghosts.
Yep.
Just the 4 tanks, but those Liberators are so powerful. A lot of medevacs. Pretty good army. I mean, one of the things you'd like to see is perhaps fungal growth off of Infestors. You're not going to see that for a while, though, because he's so broke.
Can we get some appreciation? 27.
A little bit more love, guys, for Liberators, please.
28. Oh, I mean, mostly drones, couple Zerglings.
Just stunning.
The
So
links
beautiful.
don't count. Burrowed Zergling, I do like that. Those are very annoying. It's like,
Hey!
ah! And then,
They're like, beep, we're going to land it right over here. Hey, what the heck was that?
it's like, let's try it
You
again.
can't land here.
Must be a misclick. Like, nope, let's try it one more time. It's like, what? Oh. Okay.
Our senses are picking up a Zergling. Is that about the size of a dog? Sure is.
I really hope somebody's going to ask it again on the panel this year. Oh, it's the armies. Like, oh, the goats are a little bit clogged up by the tanks as well. Seems like Semper got a little bit overeager, but he does still have so many ghosts in the back, and now they do land the snipes that he was looking for. And even though that didn't look that pretty in the beginning, Jeff, well,
Kevin,
doesn't look that
I
pretty.
think it still doesn't look too pretty.
No. Ugh.
Oh, you abducted a ghost. That's cute. And then didn't kill it? No, he did it.
That's paying the price.
It's just to your point, though. I mean, we laugh, but it was a bloody fight for both these guys. I still think it's better for Silky, though, because look how aggressively he's expanding on the left side of the map.
Now, you look at the army values. Semper's army was way more expensive. Right now, it's about even though it's still a little more heavy on the gas. That just shows. That was a better fight for Silky. I don't think that Semper ever thought that Silky would engage him like this. This is where he tried to land it one more time. You're like, no.
Why?
This Ling is winning the game. Maybe that's why Semper wasn't paying attention. He was probably looking at his orbital.
Well, we were, for sure.
Yeah.
If not, hey, look, there are Infestors coming out. Is this a nuke? Did he get a nuke? We didn't see it?
No.
EMP, then?
He's trying.
Oh, I love the mainlings there. By the way, one of the crazy things about Infestor at this stage, too, is if it shows up and lands a fungal on, like, the center of the ghost, that is actually just the game.
Once again, Silky's gonna engage. This time I think that Semper was slightly more ready for it. Tanks are in a pretty good position.
Was he ready for this?
Yeah.
Ah!
I think he is.
Yeah, it's pretty
very tanky. More Liberators show up. The Ultras get picked off as well, and Semper was obviously picking up the base on the left top side as well. Jeff, I think we are going to the rubber match.
I think
even though that is a beautiful fungal, it is not going to be enough. Semper.
These guys go. That was a great game.
Yes, Jeff.
That was a great game. We're going to go to game 3, and a nice little back and forth. I'd say the game before it was nice as well, but Silky just kind of was more ahead and just never looked back. This game was a little bit more back and forth. But Semper 2, I would say, was favored for the majority of this, and it was nice to see him deliver on that, because it's kind of heartbreaking when a guy gets ahead and then loses.
It was funny how you said it as well. Like that first push, he was working with just Marines and Marauders for a long time, and he had to get more done than just the creep. And it took a long time, and we almost felt that maybe he missed his window. But then at the final moment, he had a double drop on the south side. He finally got a cancel, and then he kind of snuck in. He ran in there, he killed the base, and he picked up, left with a couple units. And he's like, all right, now we can actually play the Ghost Liberator game. Very well done.
Well, I think something was kind of exploited here as well. You talked about how Silky in particular is like really, really good, has great mechanics. We saw a lot of great choices. But one of his weaknesses, I would say, is he kind of like, he pokes and prods at a really too strong of a force and just kind of shaves off units. He moved command of those 3 Vipers at a time where you really not only need those Vipers, but they actually have to make like the exact use of their spells. Otherwise, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, those were the MVP units. He had 3 more on the way, but they were not done yet. Then they don't have energy.
And he lost a base because he moved.
Yeah, you see him, and then he was forced to counterattack, but those counterattacks were pretty expensive. You lose Ultras against Liberators, Planetary Fortresses, stuff
He lost
like
units and he only got 1 base versus Semper was already at the southern 2 bases and got both of those basically for free. So little choices like that. Again, of course, just to give credit where it's due, we're commentators, we're watching everything, we're having a good time. These guys are fighting for a big chunk of $10,000, huge WCS points, and if they make it far enough, perhaps a ticket to Valencia as well. So it's huge for these guys, and these mistakes are what happens.
I mean, if you win this series, you're 1 series away from it. I mean, of course, there is more on the line, like you said, those WCS points. And you want to go all the way. You want to put, like, maybe a final appearance on your resume. But even just making it top 4 is obviously fantastic for all of these guys. Because going to Valencia, it's a beautiful city, Jeff, with great food, snails, everything.
Yeah, it's always hot, which a lot of people really like. I'm a polar bear, and not a lot of people know that, so I actually really don't enjoy the heat. But I like good StarCraft. I like my StarCraft family.
And you moved to California, despite all of that.
But Northern California, so it's not that bad. It's been pretty okay. One of the players is taking a bathroom break. Production said, if you guys want, you can take a break, or you can keep talking about StarCraft. And I'll have you know, if I have a chance to talk about StarCraft, I'm going to do it. Commercials? Not today. Actually, yeah, go to a quick 3-minute commercial break. That'll be totally fine. We'll be right back after this, guys. Hey guys, thank you for sticking it out and taking that little bit of a break. You know, it's important to take those breaks. Make sure and hydrate. Follow the appropriate channels like StarCraft or StarCraft Esports. Also Rotterdam 08 and Liquid Ret. Make sure and follow all those Twitters. We got some great StarCraft coming up as well. Next week is going to be the playoffs of this, where we will see players such as Scarlet. Who else qualified? Masa. Some of these great players. Actually, we'll take a look at that at the end of the day. But before, you know what? Let's not even get ahead of ourselves, because I think these players are done voiding their bowels, and we should be ready to get into this game 3.
Which is going to be played on Acid Plant, obviously a very common map, kind of. I think Acid Plant and Catalyst are the 2 maps that most pro gamers are like, yeah, let's pretty much always play on
Lost and
those.
Found, way up there.
Yeah, no, Lost and Found is
Dreamcatcher
is the most popular one of the new ones. I think Dreamcatcher is solid, but already gets a little weirder, you know? It has too many rocks.
It is weird.
It has too many rocks, Chef, and weird little choke points in the middle. People don't like that.
It is weird, but we haven't seen a lot.
Pro gamers like having a corner, an expand, another expand, and a lot of area to fight.
Where's my third?
Yes.
Can I look at my third, please? Okay, that's fine. That's
4th,
right.
doable. 5th, okay.
Yeah.
Can I scout? Yes. All right, good map.
I like when people are complaining. You'll get this is the rare. This is the high. The highbrow complaints from pro gamers is when the coloring of a map is a little bit too. I don't like this map. It's too bright.
Well, that is something that you often have to get used to, in the beginning. I mean, Darkness Sanctuary was indeed
It's too dark.
very dark. No, you can say it's
part of the map.
Yeah, but they
Make
made
it darker even.
Yeah, but they made it a little brighter. Some maps are indeed like overly bright. And the first few times that I played on Abyssal Reef, did they ever change the colors on Abyssal Reef, or we just got used to that? But
how do you even get to that? The whole thing about Abyssal Reef is you're fighting underwater.
I know, but it was still very weird. I had to get used to that.
It's beyond weird, Kevin. It's stupid, but it was a fun map. Anyways.
No, it was a great map, but the first few times you played on it, you're like, oh my goodness, where am I looking
floating
at?
up. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, that wasn't too bad. I got used to that very quick, and I didn't mind that. I thought that was cool, but it was just the colors. It was very bluish, weird, greenish. I don't know.
You're a much more accepting guy than I. But Kevin, please tell us who these combatants are.
Alrighty, over here on the left top side, we're looking in the main base of our American Zerg player. He is, of course, also one map away from making it into top 8 of WCS North America Challenger. It is Silky.
Do you know if Silky is Canadian or American?
He's American.
Is he?
As
What part of the
American. Look at that last name. Have you ever seen a
he's
Canadian?
California, right?
Have you ever seen a Canadian called McNeese? No.
Canadians, no. They don't
Only
have
Americans have those names.
They have like LaCroix and stuff like that. Very different.
I don't know why that was
Such a
so
random
funny.
joke gets you. Okay, lower right-hand side. This guy is Canadian, though. Give it up for Semper. Make some... You want to do the rap introduction? Lower right-hand side, coming out of Canada. Make some noise for Semper.
Well, we don't do that in studio broadcast, Jeff, because there's nobody that's going to make any noise.
He says it. He still says it.
Not in the studio.
Are you kidding me?
What? He does?
No, I actually don't know.
No, I've never heard him do that in the
Make
studio.
some noise.
Yeah, like if you're in a live event, I can get it. People like that when you sit in the audience. You want to make some noise.
Absolutely.
That's why people go to a live event.
Listen, I've fully accepted that my tastes for how a broadcast should go are very different from a lot of people's tastes. And that's totally okay. And what I like about StarCraft is we have so many different kinds of commentators and stuff. We got Home Story Cup at the end of the month. Are you kidding me? That's a very different kind of broadcast. Some people would even say it can end up being a shirtless broadcast. Would you say that, Rotterdam?
No.
You wouldn't say that?
I have no idea would ever say such a thing. I think you get banned on Twitch for that, and we all like Home Story Cup. So
nobody would do a shirtless broadcast, you're saying?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Ever. I don't even see why we would ever talk about that. It seems really weird.
Agreed. It's a bit strange. Seems to be a lot of people in Germany talking about it, though. Otherwise, by the way, guys, I am taking moments here to be a little bit silly because we have exactly the same opening yet again. And when you have the luxury of commentating 6 Semper games in a row, with only one of them being a different opening, you sometimes start to kind of talk to your co-commentator a little bit.
He does switch it up as soon as the start put is done, right? Yeah, this is obviously all the same. I mean, it would be very weird if it wasn't. I do believe that we had Silky opening up with the spawning pool before the hatch, unless I'm super crazy.
In case of proxy barracks, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, maybe in case of the proxy, and also maybe potentially try to get something done with those Zerglings, hopefully when the Reaper is out of position. But Semper played it very safe. He kept the Reaper at home. He obviously scouted early on as well. The SCV.
Hey, you know what, Kevin? That last game was really good. This series has been nice. I would love it if we got something along those same lines. These guys have been putting on a good show for us.
I think both games were good, right? Lost and Found was pretty fun and entertaining and hard to call, even though we did feel that Silky was playing better and cleaner early on. It was never 100% over, so that made it fun.
Absolutely. The Reaper has discovered this third base and its location. It's just kind of poking and prodding at it. A little bit of an Overlord pickoff over here, by the way, which is kind of interesting.
You know what I'm disappointed about?
What are you disappointed in?
That you haven't made fun of my observing today, Jeff.
You're actually a good observer, man.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I knew that.
Well, we've been also we've had Ravi and Nate doing it for the last couple days, so it's like someone comes in. They're good too, though. To be fair, I actually don't even have jokes. They're good. We're nice. You know what? Why do we even hire observers? The more I think about it.
Oh,
right?
Poor Kevin. Think of fun,
Kevin. He's like, no, don't ask that question. Why don't we hire more?
To be honest, you ask that question and then you look at Home Story Cup and then it's 3 pro gamers casting.
Oh, jeez.
And then the camera jumps to the corner of
or
the
it just
map.
doesn't move at all. That's my favorite when they have like a real in-depth discussion. Like,
no, when they take the hands off the keyboard and they start talking with their hands, it's like there's a fight going on right now.
Yeah, but 6 Zerglings at this time cannot defer against the aggression. And it's like this. There's just like a battle going on, but they're like, just gonna pull the drug.
You know what I want to point out though, Jeff, is that we see roaches coming out of Silky. Those are the first roaches I've seen Silky build all day. He hasn't built a lot of roaches.
Yeah.
Maybe he's...
Is he gonna go for it, you think?
I mean, it's obviously good against Hellbats, so it's going to help out here a little bit. Maybe he was worried about this build. The Zerglings, you can see, those get fried very quickly. But the Roach is going to... You want to split them a little bit, though. I guess it's good enough.
Look how quickly he gave up on this, and it's actually getting some damage done.
More Hellions in the natural.
Deflected.
Yeah, well done.
Denied.
But even when all of this happens, and some people might be like, see, this is why you shouldn't try to kill too many drones. Look at the drone count right now. Silky is actually not that rich because he was forced to make all those units. So you always get
11 drones about to pop out, my friend.
Yeah, you always get something done, but the fact that Silky didn't lose a single drone this game, I actually find that very impressive. But he is going to go for a double Evo, so it's nothing super crazy. We're not going to see him just make roaches run to the other side of the map and try to win.
Well, I think the super crazy part about this for me is that when you do the timing attack that we just saw from Semper and it doesn't go very well, look at what the Zerg feels empowered to do. It's been 20 straight drones.
Yeah, but on the other hand, he's still only up 9 drones, but in some of the other games, he was up 20 drones in this facing game. Now the Cloak Banshee shows up. Obviously, you're a little bit out of position. Like, I get you, Jeff, and I'm totally with you. Obviously, that wasn't a successful attack by Semper, and was excellently defended and managed by Silky, but it still always does something.
I can't argue with that, you're right. It does do something.
I mean, I would prefer seeing this kind of stuff than just keeping 4 Hellions on the outside of creep and seeing 72 drones Hydra Bane, because I find that terrifying.
It's about to be 70.
Yeah, but that's later, and it's a bunch of roaches. Roaches, not Hydras.
Are you really trying to sell to me right now that Semper did some great stuff?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that at least it's not because he didn't kill drones that it was all useless. That's not how it works, because he forced out units, he forced out roaches, he forced out static defenses, and he slowed the economy down.
Okay. I got what you're saying now. This attack, however, not going to have the best of times. Does get the medvac out, I would say.
Yeah. That was the most expensive unit of that drop, so not bad, especially not since he's, of course, playing Bio. This is not a mech game. I actually wouldn't have been super shocked to see...
You know what's going to happen?
Tell me.
Semper's going to take a third, and he's going to lose to a maxed-out Zerg, I think. Unless that... he actually is going Swarm Host. That's weird.
Does he think he's playing against mech?
That's a weird call right there.
I think he thinks he's playing against mech.
Can we see his vision, though? Why does he think that?
Because he hasn't seen much at all. And he's seen Hellbats, he's seen Cloak Banshees, and this is a map where Terran play is mech. I think he thinks...
We don't believe it's bad enough, though, that like just Bio shows up and kills him, right? It's just...
No, but... I mean, unless he's okay with the Swarmos either way, but... I mean, what are you going to do with it? It's so risky, they're very expensive. The Locust Wave, once it expires...
And Bio can run them down, too.
Yep.
Like, that's part of the problem. It's good against mech because mech can't really run down the Swarm Host themselves. Bio can.
This is interesting, Jeff. He still hasn't seen anything in the main. I truly believe that he thinks he's playing against mech.
7 more drones. And Semper is going to take that third.
Alright, so now he knows. Flies into the main base and he's like, whoa, Marines, with Stim.
It's going to feel a little bit weird though, right?
So, what are you going to do with your Swarmos now? That's what I truly wonder about. Unless this is just his build. Maybe this is his one-off build that he feels that... Okay, he throws down the Hydra.
You know what's kind of cool about him is they can harass, I suppose. Like, you can jump into the main from there, and mech used to be pretty good because it's just a few Hellbats or something shows up and they can kill the wave.
Oh, this is so nice for the Banshees, though. But the Banshees can just keep track of this army. There's nothing that shoots up. This is super annoying. Semper has 2 meta... I would actually love to see those Metafacts go into the main. Why worry that much? You know, you've got units at home, you've got Banshees at home. I would have loved to see him actually try to do some damage with this drop. But instead, he's just going to clean up the majority of these roaches. He's going to drop right on top of these locusts as well.
Yeah, and then he's going to die.
These are well upgraded roaches, by the way.
Yep. And it is a 60 supply advantage, or 50 or so. The one tank is doing work, though, back there. If it can stay back there and have buffer, it will help out, and that is exactly what happens. Second factory about to finish as well, so Semper not out yet.
It's one of those fights where it looked maybe good for the Zerg, but I don't believe that was actually good for Silky. Like, yes, he shaved off a couple of units, but a lot of his roaches are very bruised up at this point. This is the moment where the Terran production truly kicks in. Maybe he can try one time when he has that upgrade advantage, when he has those 2-2 upgrades, but I don't know. I don't think that was good enough.
To your point, this is getting weird. It's more Swarm... No, those are Ravagers, never mind. Yeah. And it's actually just Roaches, so the anti-air is just being forgotten. He's not going to go for anything. No Hydras just yet.
Okay, Semper picks up a Metavac. He's going to try to get something done, but I do agree with you that the Roach count is high. The actual army supply is massively in favor of Silky. Silky probably wants to wait for 2-2 upgrades, though, doesn't he?
He's going to go in a little bit before this. Going to fight that Bioforce. The first tank does die back there, but there's still that wounded tank doing so much work. It's going to get peeled off by those roaches. And there is a lot of Zerg coming in here. And the corrosive biles annihilate a bunch of SCVs. He's going to evacuate off this third, but that's going to be giving up if Silky turns back around that second factory, which is also a big deal in dealing with this composition. But Silky is just going for the win, Roddy.
Yep, and he gets that tank as well. Those corrosive biles were massive. They didn't just get that one tank and a couple SCVs. They got those Marines as well. And those were Marines that were not supposed to die. We do have this drop on the other side of the map, but the Spine Crawlers are taking care of it. Now Locust is starting to rip through these SCVs as well. More corrosive biles left. How high is the roach count, though? It's hard to say. It feels like there's a lot of Zerg here, but is there though? Well,
there is. It's 100 supply advantage or so on Army. Damn. GG. Semper is down and out with weird composition coming out from Silky there, but it got the job done.
The Roach Swarm host, where he did in the end. Let me just confirm that real quick. Yeah, he got that Hydra then. He didn't cancel it or something, so he did make it the moment he saw those Marines. But I guess he thought like, well, I've got these Swarm hosts, I've got these Locusts. We better get something done. And I kind of thought he would wait for 2-2, but maybe he felt like, no, it's better to go right now. He saw that Medevac, I believe, leave as well. So he's like, well, that's 8 Marines less. And that one set of corrosive balls, got the tank, got the Marines, got SCVs.
And it's like only SCVs drilling to the other mineral line can fit in that space. And it all just kind of came together. It's like, no! But unfortunately, that's going to do it for Semper as he is eliminated. But it's kind of a cool story, and that is the WCS way in the Challenger system where Silky is in the playoffs, and that's a really good showing for him, especially considering this group was shared by Scarlet, who I think everyone thought would be out. I like the call from Roddy earlier, where he said it's going to come down to probably Silky or Semper to determine who's going to advance, and you were correct. And in a great best of 3, it's going to be Silky.
Yeah, well done. Showed some really cool stuff, showed slightly different openings as well, especially when it comes to the later stages, when it comes to either rushing into Broodlords or the Ultras. I love how he used Burrow. Maybe not necessarily in the most exciting way that we love as fans, where it's like Burrowed Bailings everywhere, but he was annoying as hell with it. I got annoyed almost looking at it. Always blocking bases, blocking orbital commands, going for run-bys, burrowing the links. That's really cool stuff. That's what you want to see from top-level foreign Zerg players. Absolutely.
So we just saw the results for this group. Let's take a look at who advanced from Europe as well. As you can see it over there, we had in Group A, Serral in Namshur, and then we had Snoot in Mana, and now we have Sol in Bly. And this is all Europe, by the way, of course. And then tomorrow we have another European group. But over here for the NA, Massa and Zeal.
Yes.
And then Puck and True, Scarlet and Silky. Pretty good.
Well, one more group tomorrow. Tomorrow's group Europe is going to be Clam, Uthermal, sort of. And I feel like I'm forgetting one.
Nurcho.
Yes.
Same time.
So that's going to be a fun one early on. That's going to be our first group. And then, of course, the second group. I think that's a group that everyone's excited for it. Everyone just wants to put 5. You want to put 5 on that group. It's the 4th group? No, it's the 5th group.
Best American Protoss probably ever to ever come out. And then also Neeb is in that group too, which is pretty amazing. But that's going to be tomorrow, guys. Same place, same time. We've had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys have as well, as we are going to wrap up this stage of WCS Challenger EU and North America. And then we're going to take a 1-week hiatus before determining who's going to win this tournament and earn themselves some great cash, some great WCS points, as well as a bid for, well, not even a bid, they'll just be at WCS Valencia. So a lot of great StarCraft coming your guys' way. That's it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, same time, same place. You guys take it easy.